I just found out my fiancé has been roping me. My fiancé is a stay-at-home dad. He does not drink alcohol. He stopped drinking on his own accord due to his violent behaviors when intoxicated, and has never acted like that since. I like to have some beers after work, and especially on the weekends. I ended up starting to have liquor in place of beer. When I started this, on the weekends, I would get too intoxicated. Almost always. Every Friday night, without fail, I'd end up too messed up, smoking some grass, and off to bed I went. After a few weeks of switching to liquor, I'd wake up, and my fiancé would ask me crude questions, jokingly, like how was your a-hole today? The first time he asked me this, I laughed and went you were not serious and he laughed too. Then we'd go about our day. But this happened quite a few times after. He'd always ask the morning after how's your a-hole? Or how's your womanhood? Always weird, but I chalked it up to him just being a bit sour that I was drinking, since he does not. Eventually the question became, do you remember me sleeping with you last night? And again, he said it jokingly. I never realized he was actually serious. This has happened maybe 20 times now. We have been having issues with our baby's sleep schedule. We take turns, as of lately, to get up with the baby when she wakes up early, and it's been destroying us. I stopped drinking liquor a few months ago because of the hangovers and me being asleep. I have since switched back to beer and White Claws. Well, today was his day to wake up with the baby. I had 3 White Claws last night, over the course of maybe 4 hours, but I wasn't intoxicated. So, he did wake up with her, and a few hours later, still before I needed to be up for work, he comes to lay her back down for a nap. I briefly woke up and acknowledged them, and went back to sleep. The next thing I know, our room, which is pitch black due to our curtains, is lighting up sporadically. I see it under my eyelids. Eventually my eyes shoot open, and I realize that my fiancé is in bed with me, just laying the opposite way. I figured he was taking a nap too, maybe on his phone, so I repositioned and got comfy. But then the flashes of light continued. After a minute, I realized, while I was laying on my side, in a nightgown, I realized he was taking pics of me. Not just any flicks, but ones where my womanhood is exposed. When I realized this, I kind of froze. I thought maybe he was doing it as a joke. So I held still and waited. But he kept going. Then I felt him going to town on himself in bed next to me a moment later. The flash must have gone off a good 15 times. Finally he got up, left, and a little while later I woke up and went downstairs to say hi. After a few minutes, he goes, how's your a-hole? And I couldn't help it, but my laugh was really nervous. I'm assuming he caught on to that, and goes, you know I was doing it to you, right? Because you wouldn't give it up last night? I truly didn't know how to respond. After a few seconds I just kinda laughed and went no way, but he was serious. He then hid his phone for a second, I'm assuming deleted some stuff, then showed me the pictures he took while I was sleeping. I was shocked. I didn't know how he'd react if I just started outright calling him a weirdo, so I told him that I looked gross, and to delete them. He wouldn't. So now here I am. I had to call out of work today because I feel physically sick. All those times he told me he had intimacy with me, I do not remember. I was already asleep. And like I mentioned, I thought he was kidding. But once I started piecing things together, like a piece of a corner wrapper of a rubber being in the bed. Clean-up towels. Things like that confirmed he did indeed doing the deed while I was hammered and asleep. I'm very angry, not necessarily with him, but at myself for letting this happen,